במדו אמן. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו ממותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור ונורא, האל עליון, מלך חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, מביא גואל יתמנה למען שמו ואהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד משה מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה, אתה גיבור עולם אדוני, מחיים איתי מטרת להושיע, מוריד אדם מחול של חיים וקצר, מחיים איתי מרחמים רבים, סומך נופלים מרפא חולים מתיר אפלים, מקיים אמונתו לשני יפה, מי כמוך בגבולות מדבר לך מלך ממדבר עם עצמי הישועה, ולמען אתה לך היום מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני חייך מתים.
מתחדש
קדוש, קדוש, עיני צבאות מלך כל הארץ, כבודו.
מלוך כל הארץ כבודו, למתם ברוך יאמרו.
ברוך אדוני ממקומם.
ברוך אדוני לעולם להיות שכבודו ולנגע.
הללויה, לדור ודור נגיג עולך ונצח נצחים קדושתך נרגיש. ושבח אלוהינו מפינו למשה מייקל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
וזרחם עלינו כברמי גברתו את תפילתנו. אלוהי ולשובו ימינו ימינו שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. אמרו אמן. יתקלה ויתקלה שמר רבה, אמן. כל מקום מקומות ישראל, בעלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
אמן.
לעולם לעולמי הוויה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ותרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ותהדר השם לקודשה. כמעט אדוני אמרו אמן. יתקבע אצלנו לכל ישראל, כל נשמע ואמרו אמן. וישלם אורם ושמיים לכם עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום מברכה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, אמרו אמן. עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוסף בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו בכל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שעולה לשמיים ויבוא. כתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. קדיש. יתקדש ויתקדש שם רבה. יעלמה תקרא קירותה וימליך מלכותה. חי נכון ומכון חיי לכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
אמן.
יש מרב ומבורך וממה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתעלה ויתעלל. בריחו. לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, במילה ועלמה ואמרו אמן.
אמן.
רבה משמיים, וחיים עלינו ואת כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
אמן.
הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ואת כל ישראל ואמרו
אמן.
Okay, we're going to wait just a couple of minutes before we start so that more people can join us. And then I will introduce the program and our first speaker for tonight.
What a perfect picture. Just the best.
That picture, Rabbi Shlomo Tucker sent it to me from Israel last week.
Yes. Just amazing.
I'm going to unmute all until we're ready to start, just so people can kibitz.
What's there?
So everyone is unmuted, just so you know.
Okay.
You can still mute yourself.
Is he the minister?
That's a bad idea.
I can't even
That's
see
the
it.
equivalent of talk amongst yourselves.
Where's the thing to see everybody? They usually have the thing where you can see everybody.
Yeah, well,
Above the pictures.
we can hear you though, Barbara.
What?
We can
above
hear
the
you though.
pictures, Barbara.
No, but how
There's
come,
a-
Stephen, we can't see everybody?
So,
On
Barbara,
the top right, you'll see a thing that has 9 little squares. If you click on that, you should see everybody.
Are you on an
about
iPad
that,
or
Barbara?
a...
Yeah, I'm on an iPad. I see you
Some
now.
people haven't
Yeah.
started their
Oh,
video.
okay, I got it now.
Not everybody
Listen, I
has
had to-
video.
Let me
so,
tell you, I had to change for this. I hope you all appreciate that I changed.
I'm glad.
Well,
To do that. Because
I
Rob
put on a
told me,
real-
Rob
I
told
put
me
on
I
a
had
real
to be on this
shirt.
call. Rob told me I had to be on this call.
She listens to everything I say.
listen.
Not.
Oh, you only have to change your top, you know?
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm still wearing shorts, but I have a nice shirt on.
I'm wearing shorts too.
Wow, Rabbi's wearing shorts.
cares?
That's new.
I'm dressed Israeli style, sandals and shorts and a shirt.
The rabbi, I want to see him. There's the rabbi. I see the mask. Where's the? You have a mask on? No,
Just a beard, that's all.
beard. Yeah. Yeah.
Full beard.
Hello, Judy and Joel. Everybody doing it? Somebody has two.
Okay,
It was Marla. I got her.
can you hear me now?
Yes, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, before I couldn't get anybody to hear me, even when Steve said everybody was on, I couldn't get on.
Well, I didn't mean everybody.
Turned it on.
We don't really have to hear Mike, do we?
Just the top of your computer. You see the top of your head.
So Ron and I are both on, but you only see my ugly face.
I don't even see that.
Can we get an option?
Oh, everybody looks beautiful to me. Oh my gosh.
It's my picture, but it says Rana Siegel.
I'm right here.
We have your name and her picture.
Yeah, here. The trouble is, it's not wide enough, like Marshall.
If you turn your phone sideways, turn your phone sideways.
Mine is real skinny.
I don't know why.
But turn your phone sideways. Ta-da.
Oh, here we are.
And then you can put it
Ah,
back.
that worked.
There you go. You got it down now.
Rana made a beautiful salmon, and then she cleaned up and came right in.
Okay. How come you didn't clean up?
Because that's not my job.
That's my.
No, I'm not gonna touch that.
But I did.
That's
I did
so
help.
gross, Mike.
I did help clean the table, and I took out the trash.
All right.
My job is the dishes.
But Rabbi, I played a little golf this afternoon.
Good, good. Where'd you play? Oh, you played over at
Emerald Hill. I played
yeah.
Emerald Hill. I didn't finish. I got in 12 holes.
It wasn't flooded?
No.
Good drainage. Wow. That's really good drainage.
We're gonna start in one more
Oh,
minute. I'm just
yeah.
waiting for,
One question, Marla. If I'm going to teach later, will I be able to be a host so I can show things? I can share content?
Rich is gonna make you host so
Okay.
that if
Got
people
it.
want to stay on and study with you,
Right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna be leaving, so that won't be a problem.
Right. Okay. Very good.
And Rich, I'm gonna have to leave for dinner, but I'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in shul, Stephen?
Yes, this is where I am.
Okay, Stephen, can you,
There. I can move around in shul too, look.
oh, you can walk up and down the aisle, is that it?
It's all a virtual background.
Okay,
Nice top of your house.
I'm just waiting.
Well, it's time to mute. Don't mute everybody.
Yes.
Okay,
Who are we
I just
waiting
want to
for?
see.
Hi.
Hi.
Chag Sameach, everyone.
Thanks, Samaya.
Oh, yeah.
Rich, are we muting everyone once someone starts teaching?
So in about 1 minute, we are going to full mute with the exception of Rabbi.
No, of me first to introduce, and then Rabbi.
Harlan, yes.
And just so you know, I changed the setting so people can't unmute themselves.
I resent being mute, but I'll take it.
It's hard to mute a lawyer, I'll
do
tell you
you
that.
want people to be able to ask questions, or?
Some parts are, I'm going to explain it. So some parts, there are no questions.
Very busy.
I'm going to ask the president to issue an executive order that I can't be muted.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Get political.
From either of us. Okie doke.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Marissa.
Hey.
I just want to say hi and take the opportunity to thank you for the words, the donations, all the support. Thank you very much. It meant a lot to us. Okay.
Cantor, can you move over a little? The other way. There you go. Perfect.
Thank you so much. I am not sure now I'm going to call your name when I'm jumping on Shabbos. I'm going to call Michelle now.
Right. Question is she watching? That's it.
I'm just waiting to see that Pearl's granddaughter has joined us because she is live. David and Tal Noah is going to be helping us live today.
Yeah, you can go back to it.
So I'm just waiting to see that she's come on. Oh, anyhow, she'll be with us shortly. So I'm going to start. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. For me, putting this together was a labor of love. Pearl was one of my most favorite people at Beth Torah from when Ethan and I and Stephen first arrived. Tonight's program is a mixture of song, study, reflection. Some of it's live, some of it has been pre-recorded because there are some of Pearl's family members who are not on the East Coast, who are in Israel, who are in other parts of the world. So we're recording this so that they'll be able to see it later. So I'd like now to ask Rabbi Roisman to say a few words of introduction about the Tikkun. Go ahead, Rabbi.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you for all your effort. Welcome, everybody. You know, my role is very clear. Besides being the one who opens the program, is to officially change the name of the program. And I do it with pain and I do it with love. With pain, because this is the first Shavuot without Pearl being physically with us. But we love because we are doing something which is a must. It's in the DNA of our congregation. We recognize the good in people. So we are not honoring Hai and Pearl, but we are being honored to know that our congregation and our lives was touched by them. And because I never speak about what I don't know, I didn't have the privilege of meeting Hai, but I spent 17 years in the congregation where Pearl was instrumental to the growth and to beautifying and to sanctifying the message of the Torah. And it's not by heart that the Tikkun Leil Shavuot carries her name. Why? Because Shavuot has primarily one message, which comes from the book of Ruth, and it's the message of loving kindness. I will not go over the entire story, but you know that Ruth is the one that when Naomi, the mother-in-law, became a widow, and the mother-in-law says, leave, you need to open a new chapter in your life. And what is Ruth's answer? There is no way I will leave you. Wherever you will go, I will go. Your God will be my God, and you people will be my people. And she even says, where you will die, I will die. And Pearl was exactly the incarnation of the values of loving kindness, the incarnation of the values of loyalty, loyalty to her students, loyalty to her family, and family were loyal to them. Rabbi Farber, Kentor Gaston, and myself, we watch people interact with their sons and daughters when they don't live in the same city. And Pearl lived with dignity till her last breath. The way she was loved and respected and taken care by her family. The respect she showed us always. There's no day I will see her and she will not ask me about my 5 kids with their names. I love the story when, I don't know if it was the FBI or the CIA, that one day they called her because in one ID she was Pauline and in one ID she was Pearl. So they thought she was working for the secret services. You know what? We miss Pauline, we'll miss Pearl, we miss Min, we miss all of them together because it's unbelievable that with one life, she touched the life of so many. And before I conclude, you know that Ruth is considered technically the first convert. She changed the life of so many Jews, men and women that came to search for Judaism. And she was the first person she met in a classroom with her Hebrew class. And she had the possibility to make them feel that they are important or that, you know what, who can care about your search? And everybody will tell you that the way Pearl Tucker welcomed them to that classroom changed the way they will look at Judaism in general. So, with a broken heart, but full with love, I declare the High Tikkun Shavuot to be named the High and Pearl Tucker Tikkun Leil Shavuot. May generations continue to carry the message and the love that Pearl showed to so many of us. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Beautiful.
Pearl's granddaughter, Noah Shashua, is on, and she is going to say a few words and sing a song that she told me her Safta loved when she sang. Go ahead, Noah.
Hi, everybody. Shalom. My name is Noah. This is Shai, and I'm granddaughter of Pearl and Chai, or I call them Saba and Safta. Rabbi just said what I was going to say, actually. My Safta told great stories. She would talk to me on the phone and repeat the same stories again and again. I would not stop her. She told the best stories. What else? I chose a song really because of her experience. She was an amazing educator, and she was so proud of all of her teaching of conversion. And this is the song of the words of Ruth, that she announces that she will go with Naomi. And it's a beautiful version of or setting of these words. So this is Al Tifge'ivi by Lawrence Avery. And I'm very emotional and excited to be here. So thank you. אל תבכי לעוזבך, לשוב לשוב מאחרייך, כי אל אשר תלכי אלך, ובאשר תליני עלי. עמך עמי ואלוהייך אלוהי. עמך עמי ואלוהייך אלוהי. באשר תמותי אמות, ושם ושם אקבר. כה יעשה אדוני לי, וכה יוסיף, וכה יוסיף. כי המוות יפריד Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Noah. That was beautiful. Noah, unfortunately, or fortunately for her, but unfortunately for us, has to leave because she is a cantorial soloist out in California. So she also needs to get ready and prepare for her tikkun tonight at her congregation. I want to thank her very much for being with us and sharing her memories and the song in honor of her Safta.
Thank you. It's such an honor, and I'm very thankful for all that you are doing in the memory of my Saba and Safta.
Chag Sameach, Noah.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Okay, next, we're going to have Rabbi Shlomo Tucker recorded 2 videos for us from Yerushalayim. Obviously, it is 3 o'clock in the morning there, and he can't be with us, but he did want to be with us in spirit. So this is the first of the 2 videos in honor of his parents.
Oh, no sound? It'll work on it.
To share some words of Torah. On Shavuot, the holy day in which we celebrate the giving of the Torah, we must each of us consider the manner in which we receive the Torah. Receiving now is not passive. It is the most active of verbs.
Sorry about that.
How we,
Hold on.
our intellect, our hearts, our souls, our emotions, our behavior, every aspect of our beings. So the question is asked, how do I receive the Torah? A central part of receiving the Torah is studying Torah. With that in mind, let us engage in studying a short section of the Talmud, which explores a central aspect of Judaism and which appears prominently in the book of Ruth.
You cannot hear him.
No. Do you want me to cue it from mine?
Hold on for a second. Just give me 1 second about audio.
Sorry, everyone. We had this working before.
Of course, it always is the joy of technology that it chooses not to work when you have a lot of people there for this. So, so give me a second and let's see if we pop this. Okay. Just give me quick feedback with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, Marla, when we restart this.
Okay.
Shalom from Jerusalem. This is Shlomo Tucker, Pearl and High Tucker's eldest son, and I'm delighted to be with you this Shavuot evening to share some words of Torah. On Shavuot, the holy day in which we celebrate the giving of the Torah, we must each of us consider the manner in which we receive the Torah. Receiving now is not passive. It is the most active of verbs. It describes how we engage our intellect, our hearts, our souls, our emotions, our behavior, every aspect of our beings. So the question is asked, how do I receive the Torah? A central part of receiving the Torah is studying Torah. With that in mind, let us engage in studying a short section of the Talmud, which explores a central aspect of Judaism and which appears prominently in the book of Ruth. I refer to the aspect of human behavior called chesed, usually translated as acts of loving kindness and compassion. Many of us are familiar with the expression gemilas chasodim, gemilut chasadim, the deeds of loving kindness. Now, as we read the book of Ruth, we see that Ruth and Boaz, especially Ruth, demonstrate chesed and are praised for it. For example, Ruth pledges herself to remain with Naomi. It's an act of chesed, a deed of loving kindness. She then takes care of the elderly woman, Naomi, accompanying her back to her home city in Beit Lechem in Israel. There is a feeling to the story that there is a relationship here that is based on emotional and caring, that it entails identifying a person's needs, those of Naomi, and responding to them from a place of caring and personal concern. In short, a relationship of chesed. And later in the story, when Boaz meets Ruth, he treats her above and beyond the requirements of Jewish law and practice. So they are both, Ruth and Boaz, exemplars, living exemplars of deeds of loving kindness, and their deeds are called chesed. In the Talmudic tractate called Sukkah, there's a wonderful section in which chesed is compared to tzedakah. According to Rabbi Elazar, in that section, there is a clear hierarchy. And which do you think has superiority? Many of us will say tzedakah, as we are always asked to give tzedakah, and it is an expression of our giving for worthy organizations to help needy people. So give thought for a second. Which has superiority in the eyes of Rabbi Elazar, tzedakah or chesed? Yeah, that's right. He chose chesed for several reasons. Now let's consider the aspects of tzedakah. It is expressed most often through giving of money to those who are alive, and it's given to the poor and needy. Truly wonderful benefits. How about Gemilut Chasadim, that is acts of loving kindness? What are the characteristics of Gemilut Chasadim, of chesed, of loving kindness? Well, chesed can be done monetarily or through our very being, through things that we do. Chesed can be extended to those who are alive as well as those who are no longer with us. And chesed can be offered both to the rich and the poor. Now you might ask, how can chesed be done to someone who is no longer with us, someone who has died? Well, by attending to their burial, by comforting the bereaved, by sharing stories about the deceased, all are acts of loving kindness, of chesed. In other words, according to Rabbi Elazar, chesed has true advantage over tzedakah, because chesed describes our behavior, our emotions, the manner in which we engage in everything that we do. And Rabbi Elazar confirms this by saying, Ein hatzedakah shava ela lefi chesed sheba. That is, tzedakah is based on chesed, and the worth of the tzedakah, the very worth of the tzedakah, is based on the degree to which it is accompanied by chesed. That is correct. So what does this mean? An example. Can you imagine giving tzedakah in such a fashion that I see somebody in the street, someone in need of money, and I throw a few bills into their collecting plate, in their little bowl, and I say to them, well, here's a few shekels, now get a better job. Where is the chesed in that? Rabbi Elazar is telling us that everything we do must be done through chesed. I will continue in the second section in just a moment.
Next we'll hear from David and Alan Tucker, who recorded a very nice back and forth conversation. And maybe when it's over, David, you can say a few words if you'd like to.
Really?
Thank you, David. We're just waiting for Rich to cue the second video.
All right.
A tribute to Mom and Dad. Pearl and Hi Tucker. We were blessed with incredible parents. Parents who taught by example. Parents who placed core values, ha'ikar, at the center of their lives. Dad was gone much too soon. Mom was with us longer, but of course it's never long enough. Tonight, at this Pearl and Hi Tucker Tikkun Shavuot, we honor and pay tribute to these two special people. People not only special to our family, but special to those who knew them, worked with them, spent time with them. Growing up in our Valley Stream house, education was central. Jewish education, general education, contribution to the community. You can thank us by doing this for your children, what we have tried to do for you, one of their oft-repeated responses to us. They shared their thoughts, they shared their actions, they shared their love. They were generous with hugs and support. They had arguments, they had disagreements. They were very human. We loved them and we missed them dearly. They brought very different skill sets to their marriage. Mom was organized and managed the household. She discovered and satisfied her thirst for knowledge and formal education while rearing 3 rambunctious kids. Nothing could stop her, not even a somewhat disapproving dad. Dad wanted to conquer the world. There was a bit of a Renaissance man in him, capable of designing and building rooms as meticulously as he designed and produced fur coats. The elegance of his stamp collection was a work of art. Mom embarked on her Jewish education teacher path when her youngest, David, entered kindergarten.
It was only in Phoenix, many years later, that she cajoled Dad to go with her to a CAGE, Council for Jewish Education, seminar. Surprising even himself, Dad was hooked from the first lecture, embarking on his own Jewish adult education work that would continue for the rest of his life.
Music was a constant of our home, from Dad's Yiddish love songs at the dinner table to Mom's daily breakfast songs. Neither could play an instrument, which perhaps inspired them to support the young musical talents of Shlomo, David, and Alan. The three of us grew up knowing that melody and harmony are as essential to life as giving and learning.
So tonight, we come together to remember, celebrate, and most of all, be inspired by the love and traditions of teaching and learning that made Hai and Pearl Tucker models for us all.
Thank you. David, do you have a few words that you wanted to say to everybody?
Of course. I'm looking for my little photograph because I'd like to actually show my face if I could, but I can't find it. So I don't know. Can you put me on speaker? How does that work?
You are. We can all hear you.
Okay, good. So once my little picture comes up, I'm so honored. We are so honored. My brothers, our wives, our children, grandchildren. This is such a tribute to our parents. And tears are very close. And it's remarkable. I'm still in my, of course, year of Avelut for Mom, and it was a joy to say Kaddish with you all at Mincha today. And we appreciate the love and support that all of you and the relationship you had with my parents. And Rabbi Roisman, he was a very special man, my father. You knew him indirectly through Mom. They were a powerhouse of a couple. And we truly, truly miss them. It's that photograph that you have posted is a very memorable photograph. It was at our son's bar mitzvah at the time. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, and Yehei Zichram Baruch. May their memories be a blessing for all of us who know them and for the Jewish people.
Amen. Cantor, it's at this point in the program that we're going to do Ma'ariv. If you would please lead us.
Absolutely.
Everyone, Rich has posted the Siddur on the Zoom page, so you can follow along if you'd like.
Shall we? One second. This is the Ma'ariv for Chol. Okay, I'm going to skip some parts, okay, because this is Chag. Bareku Ein Adonai Mevorach Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Adonai Mevorach Potach Sharim U'Bitbona Meshanim אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המרעיף ערבים, עבד עולמי ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אל תן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו בהם נגה יומם ולילה. יומם ולילה, באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו, ישראל, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך בשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. שאתם Abraham Moshe Lemon, Israel, תוציא, אל תציע לי, אתה מוזמן, אתה מקומי תודה, אתה תורו, אחרי לבוא למערי, שדן זנים חרמלמן, תזכרו, אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר צאתכם ונצאתם ליד לכם לאלוהים אני, אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת una cosa. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל לכנועה בשמחה רבה בעמדו חולי ידי מי כמוך בלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה אלה. מלכותך רבניך מורים לפני משה סליאנו, ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם האל. ונאמר כי פדון את יעקב כלומר חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ישראל. אשכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, יעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים, ועל ירושלים, ועל ירושלים, amen. We rise for declaration of festivals. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל, אל בני ישראל. התקדש והתקדש שמרבה, ועל מה דיבר החינוך וימליך מלכותם, בחייכון ובמכון, ובחיירי כל בית ישראל. וגאלה ובזמן קריב, נאמרו אמן. ישמע רב וברך ולמי עלמיה, ברח וישתבח בכל תרומה ויתנשא ויתעבר ויתהלל, יתעלה שמר קודשיו בריחו, נביא כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושמחתה ונחמתה דבינם יאבה, במנו אמן. Festival Amidah. We recited silently. Adonai, our God, grant the blessing of your festivals to us, life and peace, joy and delight, as it pleased you to promise to bless us. Our God and God of our ancestors, make us holy through your mitzvot and let the Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your deliverance. Purify our hearts to serve you truly. Adonai, our God, grant us that we inherit your holy festivals, that the people of Israel and the entire world who make your name holy may rejoice with you. Baruch atah Adonai, who makes Israel and the festivals holy. Itkadal v'itkadosh Shemer Rabbah, אלמא נברא חירות וברך מלכות בחיי כל מקום לחום את ישראל, ועלה בזמן קריב ימנו אמן. ישמע רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולמי הלמיה, יתברך ישתבח וכבוד ומנצח ויתעלה ויתעלה שמדי קודשיו בריחו, לילה מכל ברכתו ושירתה ושבחתו ונחמתה, אמירה מעלמם ימנו אמן. יתקבל אצל התרותו לכל ישראל, קודם דשמיא במלוא אמן. ישלם הרב ושמיא בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל במלוא אמן. עושה שלום במלומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל במלוא אמן. קדוש עלינו. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, boreh pehi agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אלוהינו באהבה, מועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון. את יום חג השבועות הזה, זמן מתן תורתנו, מקרא קודש שכל יציאת מצרים. קיבלנו בחרת, אותנו קידשת, מכל העמים ומדי קודשך, בשמחה וששון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש ישראל והזמנים, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגענו לזמן נעשה, שהחיינו והגענו והגענו לזמן נעשה, לזמן נעשה, לזמן נעשה, לזמן נעשה, לזמן נעשה, לזמן, לזמן נעשה.
אמן.
חיים.
לחיים.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. אנחנו תודים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נדש מלך. המלכות שלך יעולם לדבלוך בכבוד, וכתוב תורתך אדוני ימנוך לעולם ועד, נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. מונס קדש. גדל, יתקדש מהרבה.
אמן.
מה דיברה קירוצה וימליך מכותה. וחייכון ומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל. חג עליו בזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך נעלם נעלם מיה. יתברך, ישתבח, יתפאר, יתרומם, יתנשא. יתהדר, יתהלל, יתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו. אלא מכל ברכתה ושירתה. ושפחתה ונחמתה. דמירם ועלמם אמרו אמן.
אמן.
יש לה רבה משמיה. חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן. עושה שלום וברומה. הוא יעשה שלום. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Thank you, Cantor. I'm now going to unmute Rabbi Farber so that he can give us some short reflections right now before we go into the second half of the videos and the learning.
Okay, thank you, Marla. And thank you all for joining us to this Pearl and High Tucker Tikkun. So first of all, I want to point out Rabbi Roisman is absolutely right that Pearl was suspected in being in the Secret Service. Not sure how that happened, but she actually was in the Secret Service, except it was God's Secret Service. That's who she was working for, because she had a way to teach God's Torah and to bring a love of Torah that was extremely, extremely unique. Pearl is for many years taught in the Hebrew school at Beth Torah. And somehow, and I gotta assume it's Rabbi Max, because I was running the conversion program. In those days, it met a federation, because that used to be the center of the community. Everybody could get there. And I wanted to make Hebrew a more effective part of the program. And I didn't have anybody, I had nobody there. It's not like there were people in federation at night who could teach. I had been doing it myself, but it's not anything I was experiencing. I wasn't experienced in teaching basic Hebrew reading and creating a love for it. So it must have been Rabbi Max, who I asked, maybe somebody from North Dade could come to Federation. And he sent me Pearl Tucker. And Pearl taught Hebrew in the conversion class for many, many, many years there. And then, of course, we brought it to Beth Torah until she finally retired. And it was a favorite part of the class. That she became everyone's Jewish grandmother in the best sense of the word. They fell in love with Yiddishkeit because they fell in love with her. When I would come to teach, they were already so excited and so in love with being Jewish, their identification with her and her devotion to them. If they fell behind in the reading, she would call them up and they would call her, and she would work them privately on the phone and make sure that they could keep up with the Hebrew reading and the Jewish rituals. She was the teacher par excellence. So I want to teach one word of Torah, because that's what we're studying tonight is Torah. And it comes from something in the Talmud. And it's a conversation between King David and a very wise woman it's recorded in the book of Samuel, and the rabbis expound upon it. So in the course of the discussion, this woman refers to the brevity of life with these words: we must all die. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. Water spilled on the ground that cannot be gathered up. On the surface, it's a terrible metaphor, right? That's my life. The water spilled on the ground, can't be gathered up, it's gone. Well, obviously, this is not what the woman meant. It doesn't mean that's all we are. And what we have done is just simply gone when we leave this world, absorbed by the sands of time. That's not what she meant. What she was referring to is this image. We look out, because not the last week. Last week, everything was flooded, right? But normally you look out on a park and you see trees and you see grass and you see bushes and you see flowers. We don't really see water, right? All this green just sprouting up, all this life. And we don't necessarily see any water, but we understand how it has come alive, how the colors have come out, how the brightness, how the beauty, because there's water that's submerged, right? The rain has come, it's gone into the ground, and then everything absorbs it, and it gives life, and it gives beauty. That's what a teacher is. A teacher has an impact upon children, and in this case also upon adults, which is a force in their lives that continues forever. That what they've learned has been absorbed into their soul. And whenever they need something in life, they need to reach deep down into their soul. That which the teacher had given them, it's there. It's beneath the surface. It's been absorbed. It's in their heart. It's in their minds. It's in their neshama. And they draw upon it, and it revives them, and it gives them direction. What Pearl watered with her life of teaching impacted upon more students than we could ever imagine. Students throughout her life, Hebrew school and adult education, and the conversion class. And her life's work will continue to nourish and sustain. We are her students. If she didn't teach us Torah, she taught us life. She taught us love of Yiddishkeit, love of Jewish people, love of Israel, love of Hebrew. She loved Hebrew. She adored it. So that we will continue to absorb. It's in our neshamas now. It's like the water that's absorbed by the earth, and it brings forth beauty, it brings forth greenery, it brings forth flowers, and we can always draw upon that spirit. We see Pearl in our mind's eye. We remember High. High was sweetness, absolute sweetness. And by the way, you know how Pearl got to the conversion class? Do you think she got in a car and drove at night? You think that High would have allowed her to drive at night to Beth Torah? No. High Tucker came, drove her. It was only a 50-minute session. Drove her all the way to Federation, sat in the class, and looked at her with a love and an admiration in his eye. That was a thing of beauty. And he brought her there for years on Wednesday night to teach Hebrew, because he loved to watch her teach Hebrew, and he knew how great she was. Yehi Zichron Baruch. The two of them had a tremendous impact on our community, upon myself, upon the students of Beth Torah, the congregants of Beth Torah, and they will be sorely missed. May the memory be a blessing for generations to come. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Farber. Next up, Rabbi Botnick would not do Zoom on Chag, but he did pre-record a message for us. and some Torah in Pearl's memory.
Hope this works.
Chag Sameach. I especially want to thank Rabbi Roisman and Rabbi Farber for their invitation to me to be part of tonight's memorial and salute to Pearl Tucker of blessed memory. While we're Zooming and disconnected from each other, but connected. It's so difficult for us to capture the breadth of the life and treasure of Pearl Tucker of blessed memory, who loved Beth Torah spaces and its almost holy air. Her life represented her gifts, her gratitude, and her ability to sense a complete situation. Many of us considered it a privilege to know her, to learn with her, to honor her, for her to care about us, and for us to care about her. She really was a treasure to know. How appreciative she was to people. Smallest kindness to her transformed the moment. We loved greeting her on Shabbat, sometimes halfway into the entrance into Perez Chapel. We certainly can't forget the ways that she would exactly pronounce Baruch Hashem. Thank God. You could see in her face and her eyes when she was concerned about somebody else, and how discreetly she let people know. Annette and I can't forget the times Pearl would thoughtfully call, telling us that she would not be there for Shabbat, and we shouldn't worry, but that she would be with Wilma, or that she was going to be away and that she was okay. This is a good representation of how she could be worried for someone else who might be worried about her. This moment is a time of her continuing spirit, that beloved Pearl or Pal, or Penina, or Pauline originally left with us. It's like a description of a continuous past, of Pearl's presence in our midst. The poet Longfellow dealt with his own struggle of wording, which we'll recall that at this time. And when she had passed, it seemed like the ceasing of exquisite music. I have a unique kind of gratitude. Mine is not only to Pearl, but to her whole family, especially Shlomo, David, and Alan and their families, which allowed me to reach out to her as a rabbi of hospice, L'chaim Jewish Hospice Care. Thankfully, I was given the sacred assignment of reaching out to Pearl and her family, and with videos, with the appointed responsibility of being her troubadour of sorts, helping her to sing and recall her favorite melodies in Hebrew and Yiddish as I played for her. I was also very gratified in my knowing of rabbis and chazan, the many people of Beth Torah who reached out to her and visited Pearl when she could no longer attend services or classes. And they visited her well-known apartment with familiar artifacts and her diplomas, including one from the Jewish Theological Seminary, Long Island Division, certificate in religious education dated Sunday, June 4, 1967, just before the Six-Day War. Pearl's impact upon the world and upon us was like an opened bottle of perfume. Gentle, lovely aroma wafting in different directions, touching many people, enriching Jewish life, preserving Jewish life, perhaps for some starting their Jewish lives. This time of Shavuot works well, sadly, and meaningfully ties together High Tucker of blessed memory and Pearl Tucker of blessed memory into blended, blessed memories. She recognized when there were gaps of learning in the Jewish souls entrusted to her and had many different ways to fill those gaps. Soul instruction alongside Hebrew instruction to conversion candidates, imagining possibilities, thresholds, and destinations in Jewish learning and growth. I believe many of us have been moved by a fantastic story in the Talmud in Baba Metzia, Pehei Amud Bet, Daf 85b. There's a recorded controversy between Rabbi Hanina bar Rav Chama and Rabbi Chia. It's at some point in their legal argument that Rabbi Hanina boastfully says to Rabbi Chia, "You would argue with me? God forbid, if Torah were forgotten from the Jewish people, I could restore it through my deliberations." Rabbi Chia sent back to Rabbi Hanina, "You would argue with me? I make sure the Torah is not forgotten from the Jewish people in the first place." What do? I go and I sow flax. Then I weave nets from the grown flax, and I trap deer with these nets, and I feed their meat to orphans. And then I prepare scrolls of parchment with their skins, and write the 5 Chumashim, the books of the Torah, on the scrolls. And then I go up to the village where there are no teachers, and I teach 5 children a different one of the 5 books of the Torah. And I teach each of 6 other children a different one of the 6 orders of the Mishnah by heart. Then I tell them during the time that I'll return to my place and come here again, teach scripture to one another, teach Mishnah to one another. In this way, I make sure that the Torah is never forgotten from the Jewish people. Wow. How Pearl Tucker made sure the Torah is never forgotten from the Jewish people. It's positively amazing how much investment that Pearl had in the future of Jewish people, even if we look only at what she added at Beth Torah. More than half a century of Jewish life was with Pearl's special touch in Jewish education and conservative Judaism, and we're all richer for it. Today, from our individual places of safety, somehow that separates us from the different communities and cities and even countries. Knowing that the Jewish people is safer, and the knowledge in many Jewish people is more secure, and the lives of many Jewish people are more expanded, to which of those people who were taught by Pearl are that much more elevated? I cared a lot about Pearl, and I want you to know, Shlomo and Renee, David and Naomi, Alan and Jeremy, how special she's been to so many. Yehi Zichra Baruch, may Pearl's name, soul, and memory be for a blessing. And let us say, Amen.
I will share this with Rabbi Botnick after Chag. We are recording it, and we will be able to share it also with the rest of the Tucker family. Now I'd like to introduce Rabbi Shlomo Tucker's second part that he recorded for this evening.
So now we understand that there's an interplay between what we are obligated to do halachically and the manner in which we do it. It's not enough that we help. The question is the manner in which we help. Are we really listening to the needs of the person in front of us? How does the other person feel when we are speaking with them, when we are listening to them? Do they feel uplifted, or do they feel insulted? Do they feel our love for them? If they do, then we are performing chesed. Now, how can I place greater emphasis on chesed in my personal life? Truly listening to the needs, the worries, the aspirations of the people whom I love. After all, it's a lot easier to write a check than to dedicate an hour of time, even to a friend or a colleague or a spouse or a child in need. Chesed means giving of ourselves, not of our possessions or wealth. Chesed is also without judgment. It is pure giving. One of the best examples for me has been my parents of blessed memory, Pearl and Hai, whom I, along with my brothers, loved extraordinarily. Their commitment to Beth Torah over a period of decades was based on chesed. They gave of themselves, shared themselves with love for the people, for the institutions, for the aspirations of Beth Torah. They gave of their time, their energies, their planning, and their thoughtfulness. They gave through organizational means, by joining committees, by leading committees. And they gave through their personal love of people, of hanging out with old friends and new friends. They used to ask, "Was hat sich? What's going on? What's new?" And then they would listen. And then they would listen more and understand and respond. Mom through teaching Yiddish, through teaching Hebrew school, participating in the conversion program, a member of Sisterhood. Dad, a strong synagogue attender on Shabbat and weekdays, not so much, but on Sundays, yes. Head of the Adult Education Committee for many years and a close friend and confidant of many people who are participating in this tikkun this evening. I want to close with two stories. First, one of Mom's very favorite stories, and I have to say, beloved by my brothers and myself. When Mom was teaching Hebrew school at Beth Torah many decades ago, the topic of Adam and Eve arose in the Garden of Eden for her elementary school class. One of the more challenging kids said, "Mrs. Tucker, if Adam and Eve were the first people and they had no one to teach them, then how did they do it?" From the way he asked the question, how did they do it, left no doubt as to what he was asking about. And he knew he was asking a question that would embarrass and perplex the teacher. He knew he was asking a challenging question, and I can just picture him feeling all boastful inside. He knew it was a question that would embarrass her. Now, Pearl was a good listener, and she knew how to give age-appropriate answers. So Mom was not flustered or perplexed. She looked at the boy and said, "Now that's a good question. You know, they just tried, and they tried, and they tried again until they got it right." That seemed to satisfy the young man. Now a closing story about both Mom and Dad. Mom used to attend Jewish education programs, cage programs, that would last several days. She invited Dad on occasions, but he really was not interested in that until one time he said yes. So when they arrived at the site of the conference, they looked at the outline of the hundreds of different learning sessions that were available. Mom said, "Let's go to this one." Dad said, "No, I prefer this one." And that was it. Dad was hooked on Jewish education. He was self-propelled from that moment on. Mom and Dad's memories of all that they did, of the chesed that they performed for us and for many of you, and for our wonderful congregation of Beth Torah, is engraved in my memory, and I am sure engraved in yours as well. May their names, their memories be for a blessing. Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Rabbi Tucker. Now, many of you know the cantor has already davened for us, and he's here live, but his tribute to Pearl and High, he pre-recorded, so we're going to get that now.
Santo como Adonai, non hay piadoso como Ben-Amra, y non hay cuadrada como muestra ley, y non hay que la amade como Israel, de boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los judíos, de boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los judíos. Mi piel, llevará con Israel. Mi piel, llevará con Israel. No hay fuerte como Adonai, no hay bendito como Ben-Amran, no hay grande como muestra ley, y no hay que la amade como Israel. De boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los judíos. De boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los judíos. Mi piel, devorará todo el Israel. Mi piel, devorará todo el Israel. No hay bueno como Adonai, no hay limpio como Ben-Amran, no hay derecha como muestra ley, y no hay quien la mate como Israel. De boca del Dios, de boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los juniors. De boca del Dios, de boca del Dios, seamos felices todos los juniors. Mi piel, Yeborach Kol Israel. Mi piel, Yeborach Kol Israel. Hag Sameach.
Thank you, Cantor. That was here. Everyone is clapping. Thank you, Cantor. Now I'm going to ask Rabbi Roisman. I'll unmute you, and two program notes. The first one is Rabbi Roisman is going to give some closing remarks, and then Rabbi Farber is going to stay on, and in the tradition of Tikkun and studying on Shavuot, Rabbi Farber is going to study with whoever wants to stay with him to study for a little while. 1 second, Rabbi, hold on, I have to unmute you. 1 minute. Go ahead, Rabbi.
Yes. You asked me, Marla, this afternoon to film a video so we can send to the congregation regarding the meaning of Shavuot. And remember that I said that I'm sure that one day they will write a book about Jewish attitudes during the pandemic. And it will be a chapter about how Jews reacted to Torah and to prayer. And I have no doubt that there are more expression of Torah in our days than decades before. The amount of Zooms, the amount of Chazonish concerts, the amount of debates, the amount of studies opportunities are unprecedented because there is a need. Some people have more time, but the truth is that it's demanding us, Jewish educators, to elevate the level of what we say and what we do. And I was thinking, just to conclude, once again, mentioning our teacher, Pearl, she was a very curious person. I'm so curious to know what she will feel, knowing that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are gathering more in our days than before because they are thirsty to hear the word of God, the word of Torah. So once again, our thankfulness and recognition to two teachers par excellence, Hai and Pearl Tucker. We are blessed because we had a chance to meet them in our life. We are better because of them. May the memories be a blessing. And she will love us to know that Am Yisrael Chai, Betorah Chai, and it's Chai because she went through us, she was for us, and her memory will always be an inspiration for everybody who takes Jewish education seriously. Thank you for their family, for Pearl Tucker's and Hai Tucker's family, for allowing us to create this opportunity of teaching in our memory, and to everybody who Zoomed tonight. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Everybody.
Rabbi Farber, it's all yours now. Whoever would like to stay and study with Rabbi, please join him.
Am I a host now?
Rabbi, yes,
Make him a host yet.
you're set, Rabbi. Maybe we do a 5-minute, just break for people
Yeah.
to maybe
Give
do a
people a
restroom
few
break.
minute break, and I'll come
Yeah.
back and see if anybody's
You
here.
didn't make him a
Start
host.
at the top of the
He's a
hour.
host. You only made the rabbi a co-host.
This is your
And
chance
as
to
a co-host, you
sneak away,
can't do
guys.
everything that a host can do.
That's the great thing about Zoom. You can sneak out without even being noticed. It's a fantastic thing. Right? Okay, so we give it a 3-4 minute break, then I'll be back. I'm planning on teaching for about 35-40 minutes. And interestingly enough, I'm going to continue the theme of Rabbi Shlomo Tucker, because it's as if his Devar Torah introduced what I'm going to teach tonight. And that is the the book of Ruth as an ode, O-D-E, an ode to chesed, the loving kindness. So I'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll get rolling for those who are here. And I'll be sharing the text with you, right? You don't need the book of Ruth in front of you because I put part of the book of Ruth in the computer, and we can do that.
And you are full host, Rabbi, so you got full power. Full power.
The same number, and it's right here.
We're staying right here.
Marla?
Yeah, don't,
Marla?
you can just mute for a moment and then come back.
Susan.
You did a yeoman's job.
Thank you.
Absolutely, from the bottom of everybody's heart, thank you so much for putting this together.
Amen to that.
Really.
Thank you, Susan.
You are truly an amazing, amazing person during this whole time. What you have accomplished is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tonight, especially, Earl was one of a kind, and it was really special for her.